Hi all, welcome you all for yet another session on Dr. RS and you, Science of Cosmetics and Personal Care Products. So, we have completed 19 parts, 19A also I have posted. So, part 1 is the introduction, part 2 definition, challenges and references for the science, part 3 skin structure and functions, part 4 common problems associated with skin, part 5 skin moisturization, part 6 sunlight and skin pigmentation, skin aging, hair structure, teeth and gums, rewind and revision, product forms and building blocks, then building blocks, water and surfactants, emollients and humectants, rheology modifiers, antioxidants and chelating agents and antimicrobial preservatives. So now what I'm covering is now the ingredients. Now at the end of the ingredients we will have the active ingredients for various problems that can be addressed by personal care products. So we will see what are the actives generally used, active ingredients used to address those problems. Then we will go to the formulation aspect. What is a cream, what is a lotion, what is an emulsion, physicochemical aspects of emulsion, and what are the different types of creams, how they differ in sensories, in formulation, then shampoos, then the conditioners, hair products, then hair dyes, PPD based hair dyes, what is the mechanism of action, then color cosmetics. So we will go step by step. Today, part 20, what we are going to cover is building blocks, cosmetic colors, building blocks, cosmetic colors, right? I want to make the sessions a little building blocks, cosmetic colors. Cosmetic colors are added to cosmetic products to color the product for aesthetics. Example, creams, lotions, soaps, etc. Right? Or to impart color to the skin and its appendages. Example, lipsticks, nail polish. Oxidative hair dyes deliver color through chemical reaction. Right? Here, chemical reaction. So, for aesthetics, to impart color to skin and its appendages, nail polish for nails, lipsticks for lips, and hair dyes. Hair dyes, it's not a physical process, it's a chemical process. Hair dyes, the chemical process we will discuss when we discuss the hair dye formulations, right? So, according to European Union definition, European Union. According to European Union definition, according to European Union definition, colorants means substances which are exclusively or mainly intended to color the cosmetic product, the body as a whole or certain parts thereof by absorption or reflection of visible light. In addition, precursors of oxidative hair colorants shall be deemed as colorants. Okay. See, oxidative hair colorants, when you go, we have PPD, the couplers. Ultimately, those ingredients react and then form the final color, but even that is called the precursors. Those precursors are also be deemed as colorants here for the purpose. Okay. So, here this is very, very important. The list of allowed colorants contained in Annex 4. Okay. In the Annex 4 of EU cosmetic regulation includes only substances which color through absorption and reflection, right? Only physical and not by not substances which color through photoluminescence, interference or chemical reaction. Except hair colors, all the other things are only physical, only by absorption and reflection and not by any other means. This is very, very important on the colors that are included. No lipsticks, no chemical reaction. It's only by absorption and reflection of colors you get various colors, right? So on the label, right, cosmetic colors, on the label we have to put color index number. Okay, nomenclature, color index number nomenclature should be used wherever applicable, right? Most of the colors it's applicable except for some of the hair dye precursors, and for the global standardization, color index number is given in the appendix 4 of European Union. Every color has color index number. So when you add that color, you need not name the color, you have to put the specific color index number on the label. Color index number of various approved colors are mentioned in Annex 4 of UU regulation, right? Regulatory classify colors as F, D and C can be used in food, drugs and cosmetics, and D and C that can be used only in drugs and cosmetics, right? F, D and C colors and D and C colors. Now we can go to the colors. So broadly, colors used in cosmetics can be divided into organic and inorganic colors, right? So first we will see what are the organic colors. We are not going into the specific colors, but broadly how it is divided and with examples, and then the inorganic colors. Organic dyes and pigments. What are dyes? What are pigments? Dyes are water soluble or oil soluble. Dyes are water soluble or oil soluble. Pigments are insoluble, right? Lakes, carmine and other herbal sources are the sources for pigments, right? Let us see what are they. So type of colors used in cosmetic products: organic colors. Straight colors are color additives that have not been mixed or chemically reacted with any other substances. For example, water soluble colors used in products like creams, lotions, shampoos. They are water soluble colors. Example, tartazine yellow color index number 19140. Brilliant blue color index number 42090. There are some 350 list of colors, lot of colors, but I am giving only examples of water soluble colors. Oil soluble colors used in soaps or oil based products. For example, Ponshu G, DNC red number 7 cosmetic index number, alizarin cyanin green C cosmetic index number 61570. The list of water soluble colors are more than the oil soluble colors, right? These are all state colors. So the organic compounds of these colors, state colors, include azo dyes, anthraquinone dyes and phthalocyanins dye. Okay. EU has done lot of work on the safety of these colors, but still health and environment issues of these colors are always there, right? So these colors are used at a very, very low levels in cosmetic products. However, there are health and environment issues which are addressed, and lot of safety studies have been done in all the products, right? So this is straight oil soluble colors. Cosmetic colors, organic, which are first what we said, dyes. So these are dyes, right? These are dyes. These are pigments. Cosmetic colors, these are pigments. Pigments, dyes are soluble either in water or in oil. Pigments are not soluble, they are dispersible, right? They are dispersible only. Pigments can be three: lakes, carmine, and from herbal source. This is organic pigments. What are lakes? Lakes are obtained by, these are all water soluble. These are all sodium salts of water soluble colors, right? Sodium salts of water soluble colors are precipitated by converting into either aluminium or calcium or strontium or barium salts, right? They are precipitated. Sodium salts which are soluble in water, they are precipitated by converting them into the aluminium trivalent or divalent salts, right? Aluminium, calcium, strontium or barium salts, and the precipitate is absorbed, and that is used as a pigment because these salts are not soluble. Lakes are insoluble, used in products like lipsticks, nail polish, eyeshadows, right? So lakes are used in these type of products. Carmine, right? You have heard about carmine? Carmine is also called as cochineal extract. Cochineal is an insect. Cochineal is an insect. It's a crimson lake or carmine lake. CI number is this 75470. Okay. Is a pigment of a bright red color obtained from aluminium salt of carminic acid. Cochineal extract has carminic acid. Okay. The carminic acid is converted as an aluminium salt and precipitated as pigment, right? Carmine can be an ingredient in red lipsticks. Carmine is also used in pharmaceuticals for coloring, right? So lakes, carmine and other herbal soaps, herbal source. What are the herbal source? Annatto, vegetable carbon. Especially if you burn castor oil, you get carbon. Okay, that vegetable carbon. Curcumin is the yellow pigment for turmeric. Chlorophylls and chlorophyll in green pigment. Caramel is burnt sugar, brown color. Paprika, red color. Alpha, beta and gamma carotenes, orange color. Lycopene, carotenoids, tannins, brown color. So these are all some of the examples of herbal colors. Herbal colors they can be used in foods for coloring, in cosmetics. They have their own stability issues. So they can change in color, they are highly photo unstable, they can change in color, the pH alters the color. Example, curcumin, in alkaline pH it becomes red, from yellow to red. So So these colors, or people are trying to move to natural colors for more safe colors, but definitely a lot of work has to be done on these colors because of the stability issues. And there are very few colors approved regulatory wise of colors from herbal source, right? Most of them are used in foods, but in cosmetics still it's we have to do a lot of work on stability to look more on lakes. No, we said lakes here, no, lakes water soluble colors precipitated as insoluble salts, example aluminum, calcium, barium, strontium. Lake of quinoline yellow, right? Quinoline yellow is water soluble. By converting into one of these salts, you get a precipitate. Lake of tartazine, lake of sunset yellow, lake of Ponshu 4R. They are all water soluble but converted. Pigments. What are the pigments? It can be lakes or carmine color, or the third from vegetable. They are all pigments. No? Pigments are not soluble. They are only dispersible. Right? Only the straight colors are soluble either in water or in oil. Lakes, you will hear a lot of lakes when you use lakes are used in lipsticks, nail polish and eyeshadows and lot of color cosmetics. So the lakes are widely used in color cosmetics. So lakes are, again, it is just you precipitate the water soluble colors, which is a sodium salt, with divalent or trivalent ions, aluminum, calcium, barium or strontium, right? That is a lake. It forms a pigment. Now we will go to inorganic pigments. Inorganic, it's only pigments. Inorganic, there are no straight colors which are soluble in oil or water. Inorganic, everything is a pigment only. They are all not soluble, right? Iron oxide pigments, right? Iron oxide, it is available in various colors: yellow, orange, brown, red, black, or various shades of yellow, various shades of orange. Used in eyeshadows, blush, face powders, lipsticks, makeups. No, it's used in various products. Iron oxide pigments are very useful. You have to make a point here. We have to make a point here. In iron oxide pigments, the free iron ions, Fe ions, are very, very less. Iron oxide can't give you iron heavy metal toxicity or whatever it is. No, so free ions are not there. So iron oxide is a pigment. Free ions are not existing. So ultramarines are available in pink, blue and violet, used in mascara, eyeshadow, eyeliners, right? Then titanium dioxide, it's white, used as a base in all color cosmetics. You know, its a refractive index gives a very strong white base, so that the other colors are lifted up very well in the presence of titanium dioxide. So in all color cosmetics, whether it's a lipsticks or makeups or compact powders or face powders, everything has titanium dioxide as one of the ingredients. Liquid makeups, everything. So manganese gives violet pigments. All makeup products it's used. No? Ferric ferrocyanide, blue, it is used in eye pencils and other eye makeup product. Chromium oxide, it's green, used in nail polish and eye cosmetics. Pearlescent pigments, mica, used for giving glittering appearance. No? Glittering appearance, pearlescent pigments are used. Right? These are the various categories of inorganic pigments. Iron oxide, it's very straightforward. Right? Iron oxide, it's very straightforward. Titanium dioxide, it's very straightforward. Manganese based pigments. Ferric ferrocyanide, it's a inorganic compound. Then chromium oxide, right? Chromium oxide and pearlescent pigments of mica. These are all very straightforward. What are ultramarines? What are ultramarines? Right? Ultramarines, the pigment consists of primarily of a zeolite based mineral containing small amount of polysulfides. It occurs in nature as proximate component of lapis lazuli containing blue cubic mineral called lazurite. Are the ultramarines are mined like this? No, because this is very, very expensive, but ultramarines are synthesized now. Okay. The major component of lazurite is a complex sulfur containing sodium silicate, Na 8 to 10, Al6, Si6, O4, S2, 4, which makes ultramarine the most complex of all mineral pigments. Okay. The blue color of the pigment is due to S3 radical ion, right, sulfur. Currently, ultramarines are obtained through synthetic route using white kaolin, anhydrous sodium carbonate, anhydrous sodium sulfate, powdered sulfur and charcoal. Right? Primarily ultramarines are blue in color, but it is also available in green, pink and violet colors. Right? This is ultramarine. Ultramarines are used in eye makeups, mascara, eyeshadow, eyeliners. Right? This is widely used in those things. So here also chromium oxide is used in eye cosmetics, eye pencils, right? And ferric ferrocyanide, eye pencils, right? So these are all very, very important pigments. Again, iron oxides, ultramarines, titanium dioxide, manganese based, ferric ferrocyanide, chromium oxide and pearlescent pigments. Right? These pigments are also combined with organic lakes. This is organic. This is organic lakes, and inorganic pigments are combined in color cosmetics. Right? I have simplified the entire thing. I have covered everything in this. So this is what is the colors used in color cosmetics. And inorganic pigments, right? There are expensive grades of pigments that are surface treated to impart superior skin feel. Not only superior skin feel, reduced agglomeration as hard cake in liquid makeups and all other products, lower oil absorption, reduced absorption of dispersant, powder pressing becomes more easy in compressed powders, require lower binder content because it compacts very well, improves skin feel, right? This is very, very important. It improves skin feel. Surface treated with ingredients like lauryl, lysine, silicones or other silicone derivatives. So when you surface treat, you get superior feel from the product. So the pigments are surface treated for various benefits. Now we will see the videos of the iron oxide pigments, ultramarines and all the colors to see how they look. So these are all different lakes, lake color pigments. We discussed lakes, the soluble organic colors or precipitated using either aluminium, calcium, strontium, barium salts. Barium as a barium salts, they are precipitated and absorbed. These are all the precipitated lakes. They are called pigments, right? They are lakes, right? These are all the colors, some of the colors of lakes. This is carmine red color. This is carmine red color from cochineal, right? Carmine red color from cochineal. All samples of iron oxide pigments used in cosmetics, various shades, and even in this yellow, you can get 2 shades of yellow, you can get different shades of red, So, these are all calamine. Calamine is in calamine lotion is nothing but zinc oxide coated with iron oxide, that is calamine, right? So, these are all some of the iron oxide pigments shown in this figure, shown in this picture. Various shades of ultramarines for cosmetics. These are various shades of ultramarines for cosmetics. This is titanium dioxide. It's a white pigment, refractive index is high, so it lifts all the colors. So titanium dioxide is used in all color cosmetics to lift the colors, right? This is manganese violet. This is manganese violet pigment, right? Ferric ferrocyanide for cosmetics. I want to clarify here, cyanide is not here as ions, so it's not that cyanide. So it's in the pigment form. So ferric ferrocyanide. Same way in the iron oxide pigments which we saw early, iron is not in the ionic form. So ions contamination is not there in pigments, right? So same way ferric ferrocyanide is typical blue color. This is chromium oxide green color. Chromium oxide green color used in nail polish and eye cosmetics. These are all the various shades of pearlescent pigments, basically mica coated with various pigment color. So it gives glitter to the product, glitter to the product is pearlescent pigment. And finally, I want to conclude that colors are great experience in cosmetics, and in cosmetic colors the quality basically arsenic and heavy metal contamination. Arsenic and heavy metal contamination, we have to see 2 ppm of arsenic calculated as arsenic trioxide, 20 ppm of lead calculated as lead, 100 ppm of other heavy metals other than lead calculated as total of the respective metals, right? This is one thing. Heavy metal contamination, we have to be careful. There should be a strict control. And then batch to batch variation in the color intensity of the raw materials, right? Your customer, when in color cosmetics, they don't want to see color changes, even a slight color change from batch to batch. So to maintain that color, batch to batch standardization of the raw material is very, very important. So as soon as the fresh batch of colors are received, so you have to do a sample batch of the product and match the colors till the batch is used. And if some alteration has to be done in the color dosage to match the controlled color, you have to do that, right? So batch to batch variation in the color intensity of the raw materials of color, of the raw colors, okay, that can make the final product to look different. So that is very, very important, and that is the matching you have to do. So this is what I want to share with you on pigments. And to end, life lesson, just by listening is a great art. Don't hear it, you have to listen. And just by listening, you are evolving. Thank you for listening to me today, and we'll connect with you in the next section. Till then, bye.